G'day and welcome back to the channel today. The RadioMaster TX12, not to be confused with the TX16S. And the most obvious feature or difference with this radio is its small size. Look, it's smaller than my hand. And, well, really, that's what it is. It's a really small radio. So let's get rid of the other RadioMaster. Let's take a close look at this thing. And here we are in my hands. You can see it is a very small radio. Now, that's got pros and cons. If you've got big hands, you probably hate it. But if you're looking for a really compact small radio you can throw in your backpack and you don't have a Tango 2, then you may find this to be a kick-ass product. So how does it compare to the Tango 2? Well, obviously it is a bit taller, but it's about the same width, maybe a little bit narrower than the Tango 2. And let's have a look at the depth, shall we? It's a little bit deeper than a Tango 2, so probably not as form factor efficient as the Tango, but if you're looking for something that works on 2.4 gigahertz, then this may be, and it's got the multi-protocol module, I must remember to tell you, multi-protocol module, so it'll work with all the Texas Instrument compatible systems, not all the systems, but the Texas Instrument ones, which are basically, what have we got here? It does tell us on the box. It says Corona. Who the hell uses Corona these days? High-Tech, Futaba, FHSS, Free Sky D8 and D16, Radio Link, and Graupner Hot. So it worked with a little asterisk. Why has it got an asterisk on Graupner Hot? It doesn't say. Anyway, so yeah, it'll work with quite a range of other receivers. And of course, it will work with RadioMaster's own massive selection of receivers they're about to drop on the market, which is going to be great. That's the radio. It only has another thing in its favour for me is it's got a monochrome LCD. It doesn't have one of these fancy colour screens you can't read unless you've got, shade. It comes with a USB-C cable. I don't know if it has a charger. We'll find out when we tear it apart. Don't know if it's got built-in charging or not. And it comes with a manual, and it comes with this. Look at this black thing. Why do you think it has this black thing? Well, I'll tell you, because it also has a folding handle. Yay, folding handle. Everyone loves folding handles. And it has a regular module bay. So you can put, if you've got a Crossfire module or an R9 or anything like that, I suppose, you can bung that in the back, anything that's supported by OpenTX, because yes, it does run OpenTX. So you can run multi-protocols. And if you're only going to be using it on 900 megahertz or something, then you can just put this little plastic bung in the top here, and water won't get in your transmitter, and it looks like you don't have two aerials. It looks dorky when you have two aerials. That's a small, but really it's a thing that shows RadioMaster are thinking when they build this radio. There's a little thing like that that just shows the attention to detail. That makes a difference. And they even have a warning, do not turn on the radio without the antenna installed, because otherwise you will have an expensive paperweight. Well, not that expensive. I haven't seen a price on this, but I would not expect it to be an expensive radio because it's small. I tell my wife good things come in small packages. She disagrees, but I think, well, unless it's jewellery, but in this case, I think it is. It has a 20 dB output, which means it's 100 milliwatts. So you'll expect full range from this thing. Just because it's small doesn't mean it doesn't have much range. It's got the normal buttons down there you expect, the scroll wheel, these two buttons here, and it's got 3 position, 3 position, 3 position, 3 position, and these, a bit like on the Tango. Now the Tango has these buttons up the top here that you can, well, they've got 3 positions, but it's got these buttons as well. So it's got buttons. It's got buttons, so you can obviously toggle backwards and forwards with those. There doesn't seem to be any illumination to tell you what's what, but hey, this is a small radio. Compromises must be made. It only has one on-off switch. Trim levers, buddy box connection, USB, and they say that it's easily upgradable. The firmware can be upgraded very easily. In fact, I think they said on the box, can you do it from the SD card as well? The upgrade method, USB or SD card and OpenTX companion software. So it's pretty standard, pretty stock stuff. So I think we should stop looking at the outside, have a look inside, see how well it's made. First thing to note is it takes two 18650 cells, and I look at the wiring harness here with the 3 wires. That's suitable for balance charging. So I have a feeling it may have the charger built in. It doesn't say on the packet that I could see. That battery slides up in there, but if you're not using 18650s, there's quite a bit of room in there for LiPo pack. So yeah, and the little connectors down here. Your micro SD card, there is not one in this one at the moment. It goes in there. No micro SD? No, there's not. No, that's unusual. Usually they provide a micro SD. Not in this case. So let's take it apart and see what's inside. Little QR code warranty sticker here so that they know if you've broken in when you shouldn't have. I'll get rid of that. That's not going to last. I'm breaking it open so you don't have to. So here we are, we're deep inside the bowels of it. There's a single circuit board with a little multi-protocol module stacked on top here. These are not Hall effect sticks, they're just pots, but they look adequate for what the job is. Now, a few other things to note. The wires to the switches are soldered directly and there's no heat shrink or anything there. There's a reasonably good soldering job, so I'm not too worried about that. Remember, this isn't like probably going to be anyone's main radio. It'll be a backup radio or something that you take to the park. So yeah, that's satisfactory. It's not as good as in the full-blown radio link. The pots here have got plenty of goo on them supporting the wires, but I noticed that it's not totally 100% because this wire here, you can see the insulation doesn't go all the way. So and remember, this is a pre-production. So I would certainly hope and expect that the quality would be better in a production model, but it's acceptable. It's acceptable at this stage. I think this is, perfectly fine. Down here we've got the normal STM32 microcontroller, which is doing, this is pretty standard for all OpenTX radios, they all have this. We have a battery backup over here for all the non-volatiles, keep the clock running when it's turned off. Micro SD card slot down here, there's a voltage regulator here, and there's another one here. Now I can't tell from just looking at it whether it's going to charge. It doesn't seem to have a charge circuit close to the battery connector, but it could be this, it could be that, I don't know. I'll look further and tell you whether it charges through the USB port. We will find out fairly shortly. There's probably not a hell of a lot to say. I like the fact that the UFL connector is glued down and also the pigtail here is glued, so it's not going to flap around in the breeze. Yeah, it's got little sliders on the side here, and they do have a detent, which is better than the full-size jumper. The detent on that is actually better, but it's still, they're not precision things because you only get this much movement. That's it. So you're not going to be able to do precise stuff with these things. That's the center position. Is it center? I don't know. Yeah, so from a technical perspective, from a build quality, it's certainly adequate. I've seen a hell of a lot worse in brand name radios, trust me. I've seen some stuff that would shock you in some of the radios that people pay a fortune for. So yeah, that's acceptable. And as I say, remembering it is a pre-production unit. One of the big bonuses is you can remove the back. There's no leads to the back, so that's it's not like the jumper where you've got that antenna mounted on the back and you've got a fly cable. It's a bit of a pain if you want to take the back off. So there you go. You don't have to take the back off yours. I've taken the back off mine. Okay, I've thrown a couple of 18650 cells in there. The moment of truth. Let's see if it will turn on. Ooh, that's looking better. Looking good. OpenTX. That's a very familiar sign on that LCD. Oh yeah, it's fine. There we go. TX12. Well, hey. So let's see. System memory. System menu. Oh, okay. It's, these keys are different to what I'm used to again. Where are we? Where is the exit button? Return. So let's go to the model menu. There we go. Oh, it's already got some in there. Look at that. These are basic templates. And which one is return? There's not a lot of consistency actually in some of these things. What have we got here? So system menu. Oh, what about page? SD card, there we go, radio setup. Let's have a look. The date's not set on this one, obviously. Yeah, it all looks pretty standard. Let's turn the beat pitch. Yeah. If you're familiar with OpenTX, oops, I get this into shot. There's not a lot to see here. It's just, this is OpenTX. This is the way it works. So what I will do is, obviously I will set up a model or two and do some flying. Okay, it looks like a pretty good day out here today, and of course I am testing the RadioMaster TX12. I always get these numbers wrong. TX12, there it is, and I'll show you the best thing about this radio. Why I like these standard LCD displays. Look at this, we've got full sunlight, and just look how readable this display is. Look how readable that display is in full sunlight. That's fantastic. That's why I like them. I like flying in the sun, so that's why I like regular monochrome LCD displays on transmitters. Now, I've set up my FMS super easy here. It's got a X16 receiver in it, bound really easily, no problems at all. Just wired in a bit of Expo, haven't set any trims yet. And I'm going to give it a bit of a flight. Now this doesn't have an SD card and I haven't had time to make one up, so I'm not going to get any voice telemetry, but it is providing telemetry on the screen if I want to look at it. And one thing I've noticed right from the get-go, and this is perhaps because it's pre-production, but this is terrible. It seems that for some reason the rotary encoders on the first versions of all these radios is just awful. This one skips and jumps, and that, you know, it's really, really hard to use. I'm sure they'll fix that. They fixed it in the RadioMaster TX12. I'm sure that this is just a quirk of the pre-production model. At least I certainly hope so. They'll probably let me know once they've got that sorted. I'll be telling them about that. But other than that, it was really simple to set up. Got a couple of 18650 cells, and yes, it does charge from the USB-C port. This USB-C port on the top here, over here, will charge your internal batteries. But you've got to make sure you're using the 4.2 volt per cell packs, not the 4.1 volt per cell packs. So let's have a bit of a fly. Let's see what happens here. I'll get the old Super Easy in the air and we'll see if it works. Okay, so here we are. We've got the transmitter. I'll put a bit of right trim on, or left trim, because I think from memory this model required a bit of left trim. And yeah, because there's no trim set, so we'll see how we go. Right, left, up, down. Ailerons, this all going the right way. Throttle works. Let's see if it flies. Ah, beautiful. Don't have to worry about those planes. A long way away. And it doesn't. I've got to say, the smaller sticks do make a difference. If you're quite so confident in hurling it round, maybe a bit more expo would make a difference, but it may be just getting used to it. I think it's just getting used to this sort of thing. These things are pretty subjective, but it seems to be working. I mean, it's controlling the model, isn't that what we want these things to do? So let's try a bit of distance, and I'll fly it out a bit of a way and see if it falls out of the sky. But, yes, I have set the failsafe. Excuse the radio noise. So yeah, that's as far as you want to fly line of sight usually. It's a fair distance. Just hold this up so hopefully you can see the transmitter. And my thumbs aren't too bad today, I've got to say. But I do need a bit more expo on these tiny sticks, I think. Yeah, let's do a turn. Excuse my thumbs, that's terrible. They are good compared to normal. I did take extra medication. So yeah, it flies with this, but I may do some more flights with it. I think it just needs a bit of getting used to. Landings are always the ultimate test, aren't they? Let's try one of those. See how that works out for us. Right. That was okay. Just go around. What about aerobatics? Yep, I'm feeling more comfortable at the moment. Probably the Mobius doesn't give you a very good picture because it's wide angle. It's only 1080p, so I can't crop in on it. But it's the only camera I had available. A bit of thermal activity. Get the DLG out shortly. Let's do a low pass. If you're wondering what that is hanging down below, it's a rubber band that I use for toilet roll drops and things like that, so there's nothing wrong with the model. Yeah, starting to get a little more comfortable. This transmitter is working perfectly fine. I wouldn't use it as my main transmitter for all my models perhaps, but I don't think it's designed for that. I think it's designed for park flyers and stuff you want to throw in your backpack because you want the small size. Can I hover with it? Yeah, it hovers. Might have to put a bit more elevator throw in though. Okay, here we go. Come for one more landing and we'll do a summary. Certainly the range is fine. Ooh, that's me, my crappy thumbs. It's great, it's great. So there we go, that's my review of the RadioMaster TX12, and in summary, it has a few flaws, but as they said to me when they sent this, this is a pre-production model and they wanted feedback, any problems, bugs, whatever. And I think this little scrolly wheel is not up to scratch. I noticed a couple of other little bugs with the software, which I'll be reporting back. It's OpenTX, so there shouldn't be any bugs, but it may have just been related to the scroll wheel because sometimes things didn't seem to work properly. But hey, bottom line is I'm sure that they will fix that as they have done with their other products. I mean, the first release was a bit shaky with the first RadioMaster. There was a couple of little things, scroll wheel and things, but they sorted this out really quickly. And the fact that they've sent the pre-release out is great because it means that the production model should ship without any problems. That's the theory. Fingers crossed. I'm pretty sure they've got a handle on this because they're very responsive to customer feedback. When I was flying, the fact that my hands are in a different place did make a difference. And I think the fact that the sticks are smaller also made a difference. It didn't feel quite so positive. It was, and I was having a few shakes, not too many, but it was like, yeah, I didn't feel as in control as with a full-size transmitter. But hey, within, I don't know, half a flight, I was feeling much more relaxed. It was getting much better towards the end. So it's one of those things you will adapt very quickly. Most people will adapt pretty quickly. And if this is your only transmitter, you won't notice it at all. This is probably not going to be most people's main transmitter, but it will be the one you throw in your backpack or you take to the park or it's your backup transmitter because it does everything the big radios do, but it's smaller and presumably, I don't have a price, presumably it is cheaper as well. And I do love the monochrome screen in the sun. No problem playing around with adjustments in full bright sunlight today. Fantastic. It just reminded me how much better monochrome screens are than color screens. As I say, if RadioMaster made a TX12 with a monochrome screen, I'd take it in favor of the color one every time. Just more practical. Yeah, color screens are flash and they look great inside when there's not much lighting, but outdoors, you just can't beat that monochrome screen. It's brilliant. Anyway, that's my findings, folks. Range, no problem. Perfect. There was no glitches. There was no unexpected happenings during the flight. Absolutely wonderful. Perfect. Trims worked fine. Happy camper. Happy camper. So this will probably, I'm a bit of a quandary here because although that is a small transmitter and it feels small, which means, as I say, you've got to adapt to it. The Tango 2 is a small transmitter, but it feels much bigger. And therefore this feels more like flying a full-size transmitter. And I think if we look at it, the sticks, I don't know if you get, is it psychological? Do we actually get more throw with that stick than with that stick? It probably may be psychological. Maybe it's, and that you're not that much further apart. I don't know what it is. Yeah, the sticks are slightly further apart, but not that much will make a difference. I think it may just be that it's small. I don't know. But hey, certainly, depending on price, this could be an excellent value transmitter for a backup, for your backpack, for whatever, for a gift for someone who is just getting into the hobby, doesn't want to spend a fortune, but wants an OpenTX transmitter that has all the bells and whistles you need. There you go. Questions, comments to the usual place down here in my private parts, and I'll certainly do my best to respond. To the meantime, thank you to RadioMaster for sending this out. I really appreciate it, and I will be sending you an email with just a few things I've noticed, which there's no deal killers there. I will continue to use this radio because it works perfectly, even this pre-production one, apart from the scroll wheel, which it's just a bit fiddly. It doesn't always move every time it clicks, and sometimes it moves twice. The same problems we've had with these scroll wheels on earlier release products in the past. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed the review. Thanks to my Patreon supporters, you make it all possible. Bye for now.